If you're still managing your leads in spreadsheets or a bloated CRM, then you are going to love this video because we are going to be demonstrating how you can include Airtable to help you manage that sales pipeline. We're going to be building this from scratch, and this is completely modular. So everything that we go about in this video, if it doesn't pertain to you, you can make adjustments as needed for your particular process. So if you're ready to start including Airtable to help you manage your sales pipeline, stick around and let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Gareth and this is Gap Consulting. It's my mission here to help you unlock the full potential of your no-code tools, and Airtable is at the forefront of the tools that are in our tool bag. Now, before we get into the heart of this video, I first want to invite you to join me for some Airtable training. If you're new to Airtable and you want to learn all the key basics, the key features that this software has to offer, then this is the perfect training for you, and it is yours for free if you sign up at gapconsulting.io/airtable-crash-course. This crash course will be delivered to your inbox, right into your email, and we're going to include a series of videos to help you get up to speed quickly in the software. But without further ado, let's hop into the reason that you're here, building that sales pipeline in Airtable. Now, first and foremost, let's talk about why you would build it in Airtable. Now, Airtable is a very modular tool. You can build it to exactly your specifications, which is really helpful in the sense of a sales pipeline, because let's face it, most CRM tools have a lot of bloat. I hear time and time again when talking to clients that they are working in an existing CRM or maybe a janky spreadsheet that's failing them. And there's like all these features that they're not really using. So leave that old CRM behind and make the cut over to Airtable, where you can build a modular process that is exactly what you need with none of the extras. And in addition to that, Airtable has its own internal automations. It has an interface that you can cultivate. You can create exactly what you want to share with your team. And lastly, they've just released some amazing new AI features as well that you can use to get even more efficient in your sales process. So let's go ahead and first jump into how we are going to build this. And we're going to do it right here together. I'm going to build this from scratch. And you can use Omni, Airtable's new AI tool, to help you build this pretty quickly, or we can build it on our own and go step by step. But I'm going to try to save some steps. Let's go into Omni here, and I'm going to type up exactly what I want it to build. So I'll say, we are building a sales pipeline, and what I really want to focus on here is getting our tables identified when we are talking to Omni. So I'm going to say, here are the tables we need. Now, if you're new to Airtable, this might not make a ton of sense. A table is a set of data, and your tables are going to be like kind of the backbone of whatever it is you're building. So for us, we're going to track contacts, yes. But let's assume that we're also doing B2B, business to business. So those contacts should be related to a company, the company they work for. So we have contacts and companies. Next, we might also want to track our interactions, but also, of course, most importantly, for any sales pipeline, we've got the deal itself, the thing that we're tracking. And so we're going to make all of these their own unique tables. So let's go ahead and list them out. I've got contacts, I have companies, I have interactions, and most importantly, I have deals. Now, these are probably your minimum tables. You could even get rid of companies if you do B2C. So if you're just dealing with people and not companies, then you can ignore number 2. But we're going to keep it for our example. But one more thing that I want to do is actually imagine that we're tying this into a marketing team as well. Maybe our marketing team is running many different campaigns. We want to inherit those campaigns so that we can track the efficacy of the different marketing campaigns that are running in our organization. So I'm going to have a last table here. I'll do my 5th table, which is going to be lead source, and I'll call this marketing campaigns in parentheses. And that should do it for us. Now we're going to see how good Omni is, right? Omni's going to infer a lot here because we didn't give it a lot of information to go off of. We said we're building a sales pipeline. And really that's it. So we see Omni actually doing the building in the background, which is nice. And we see that it's populating data for us. So a lot of different things are going to be happening in the background. We've got our contacts coming in. We've got our companies. And, we put together essentially 5 different tables. So it's going to take a little bit of time. But you can also read, of course, what Omni is working on at the same time. So we see here that Omni is saying, hey, based on your prompt, I'm going to consider these workflows as well. So manage contacts, log interactions, manage deals. So we can see that the information that Omni is inferring is pretty on point. So that's it. Omni has built the whole thing, and not just the back-end data, by the way. And I didn't pause there at all. That all happened in real time while the camo was rolling. And we've got lead source, contacts, companies, interactions, and deals. So if you're new to Airtable, what I just did was click on the data source, and this is the back end. This is the structure, the skeleton, the frame of the house. The interfaces are the drywall, the side paneling, the paint, all the attractive design elements of it. This is where people are actually going to use the tool. But for us, we need to first make sure that the data is correct. So now that Omni's done its thing, we'll close the side panel and put Omni to sleep for a moment. And let's take a look at what we have. Lead sources are essentially our marketing campaigns. They've got a start date and an end date and a budget. And we could imagine that we're inheriting this information from marketing. So let's assume that this is not information that we are necessarily in charge of on the sales team per se. This is stuff that we're getting from the marketing efforts in terms of leads generated, conversion rate. Okay, this is stuff that they are tracking. They're rolling up the total deal value. And so this is actually coming from the associated deals, which are the deals that link to the lead. And this is exactly the kind of stuff we want, although we want to make sure to update this to show in a currency. So this is really helpful to say, hey, we spent, let's scroll back over here, $5,000 on this marketing campaign. And this is fake data, of course, but we can see that we are nurturing $150,000 worth of deals. So we can see that we've got these deals, associated deals here, but are they closed? Have we won these deals? We don't know yet because we haven't looked at our full data schema. But even so, this is pretty good numbers. If I spent $5,000 to bring in $150K worth of possible deals, that would be a win. Same thing over here with the average deal size. We've got a formula calculating. And again, a lot of this is being created for us by Omni, and AI is still not quite perfect. So we have to go in and make some adjustments and all of that. But at the end of the day, pretty good stuff, right? We can see that a lead source is linking to a contact, and I don't necessarily love that. What I do want is for that lead source to link to the associated deal. That is an important link. So let's go over to our deals and see what these are. So we've got a couple of different deals in the pipeline, 6 different ones, and we've got a deal status, prospecting down to negotiation or won or lost, which is perfect. We've got a close date on these. So this doesn't make a ton of sense that we would have a close date filled out when we are still prospecting or qualifying a deal, but you get the idea. Again, we're just in the back end and we're going to be able to make those interfaces more customizable, but we have to have the back end set up appropriately first. So the deal is linked to a contact and also linked to a company. Now, one thing you might want to do, and this is one of those more advanced Airtable techniques, if you understand how companies and contacts are related, we want to make sure that when we pull a company, if we say this company is assigned to tech innovators, then maybe we only want to be able to select contacts who work at tech innovators. This is a cool feature within Airtable. So we can toggle this on and say that we're going to filter our contacts by a condition, and the company must be matching, and then we'll dynamically say the company field. So what this means is, once we make this change, let's pull John out of here. We would then see only the people who are at tech innovators. So, of course, we don't want to be pulling up the whole list of contacts, only the people who work for tech innovators. So that is a dynamic filter, a dynamically updating filter based on other links inside of our relationship. Now, we also have our contacts, standard stuff here, right? John at Tech Innovators, that's what we expect, same as Olivia. We've got email addresses, phone numbers, pictures, job titles. You get the idea. Pretty standard stuff here. Same thing with companies. And then interactions is where we're going to log who is the person we talked to and, of course, where do they work and what's going on with this interaction. Now, one piece that's missing for me here, I want to actually log this interaction against a deal. So I'm going to add that field too. And I'm going to link it to the deals so that every interaction is taking place on behalf of a deal. So, of course, we would want to make sure that we limit the deals that show up here. We're going to limit them to a condition just as we did previously, where we only want to see them where the contact is assigned to that deal. Let's go ahead and bring that in. Confirm the change. And so we know that John's on, I guess he's on 2 deals. We see John is on these 2 deals. This one's closed. So if we had an interaction with him recently, it's probably on the open deal. And we'll click this one to Jane, right? So this is important for when we want to roll that data up and see when did we last have an interaction, how are things going as we massage these different deals in the pipeline. Okay, the data layer is cool and all, but it's probably not why you're here. Once you have the data layer in place, let's move on to automations and interfaces. We're going to tackle interfaces first because they're already built for us. So again, Omni put this all together for us where we can dive into our analytics and look at our lead source. We've got a different dashboard here or a different interface for the contacts. We've got a list of contacts as they're associated with a company. Let's again close Omni so we can get more real estate here. All of this is fully editable, folks. On the right-hand side of my screen, I can click in and make changes to this data. I can say, you know what, I want to be able to open this particular deal up or this contact, or I want to bring more information into my list view here. Maybe I want to make new fields available. I can choose what people are allowed to do, what people are allowed to edit. And then ultimately, when I share this, I'm sharing the interface, which allows me to lock down the data so that people can only see and edit the stuff I want them to see and edit. So we've got our company directory over here as well. These are the different companies in our database. Ultimately, once we're happy with this, by the way, we can publish this and then we'll select all. And then it'll ask us who we want to share these different databases or interfaces with. For now, I'm not going to share. It's just an example. But this is the live app. The whole thing's been built by AI. We can go in and make tweaks as needed. But ultimately, we're here to log these interactions and document the different conversations that we're having with these different contacts against different deals so that we can ultimately see what our pipeline looks like. And here it is in a Kanban view. These are the deals we are currently working on. You can see that we've got them broken up by the different stages of the pipeline. And we can even apply filters. Like, let's say we just want to see what are the deals we're working on right now with tech innovators. Boom, there it is. You want to add a record, create a new deal? No problem. That was also created for us by Omni as well. Again, all of this fully customizable. And we can now start talking about automations. So let's flip back now into the back end. We'll go back to the data and we'll go into automations. And let's get a little bit of help from Omni here. Again, why build it by hand if we can have AI help us out? Let's see about sending a Slack message. So we're going to go ahead and set up Omni here. And I'm going to say, hey, can you help us build an automation? Help build an automation so that when a deal is marked as 1, we receive a Slack notification in our channel. Let's see what Omni can do. Now, I've honestly tried Omni out a few times on the automation front, and I've kind of got mixed results. In some cases, Omni is fantastic at this. Again, Omni is the AI builder inside of Airtable. The AI assistant inside of Airtable. He can help us, or they can help us with building, but also with analyzing our data, which we're going to see in just a moment. But let's see how this works if we're able to get this actually done. I mean, it's mostly done. So Omni was smart enough to say when a record matches conditions, when that deal is marked as closed, then we're going to send a message. You can see that the message has been created for us. The only piece that's missing is that Omni doesn't know what channel to send it to. So cool. We can refresh a channel list. It's even integrated with our Slack. So I've done this previously. Omni, or rather Airtable, already had permission to access my Slack. So I didn't have to update it. But here you go. I can bring it in, drop it into any of our channels on Slack, and then this would be good to go. I mean, this is pretty powerful stuff. An entire automation built for us with just a simple prompt. Now, again, we can adjust this, we can update this information, but AI is making it faster and faster for us to implement. So you can imagine a bunch of different automations that we could create for a sales pipeline. We could send out proposals via email automatically. We could update our team when deals are won. We can, process payment if we have somebody's information on file or things like that. I mean, there are so many different possibilities if you really lean into automation in Airtable. But now let's look at that last component. Let's flip back to our interfaces and we'll publish these again. And let's go ahead and access the Omni bot inside of the interfaces. Now, I do want to preface this by saying Omni knows what data you have access to. So if you do not have full access to the data, then you can only get answers from Omni that are relevant to the permissions you have in the app. So I just want to point that out up front, that we don't have to risk opening up the keys to the kingdom when we're sharing this information and people are accessing Omni. But let's say I wanted to understand the health of my pipeline. I can just type that in. Please help me understand the health of our pipeline. And let's see what Omni gives us back. So, rather than in this case asking Omni, the AI, to build something for us, now we're actually in the front end component of the tool. This is how we would interact with the tool on a regular basis. And of course, we're in here. We're probably updating the deal tracker. We are logging new interactions and all of that. But when we come down to work on Monday, maybe we just want to get a quick recap of where are we right now? So you can see Omni doing the work in the background, analyzing, thinking, and now spitting out a nice health overview. So I can make this full screen so that we can view it right here, giving us some key metrics: total pipeline value, analysis, velocity. This is great, actually. Closing process with an 8-day average for won deals. Come on, that's fantastic. So pretty good stuff, right? A nice little high-level analysis there by Omni. And just like that, we have our own sales pipeline, CRM, ready to go in Airtable. I know we went really quickly in this video. There's a lot to cover. And I think you can see that we really leaned on AI to do a lot of the building for us. But that is the future for Airtable and no-code tools. We're seeing more and more AI tools that are helping us get set up that much faster, that much more cheaply. So if there are questions that you have that we did not get to in this video, feel free to swing by our website. We have a ton of resources there for you and some expert assistance on standby if you need help. Of course, we would love it if you did get value. Give us that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, but most importantly, keep on building.